At the damaged nuclear plant, military helicopters, meantime, fire trucks and high-powered water cannons blasted the site with water, but those efforts have not produced any big changes so far. And we are hearing now about elevated radiation levels miles away from the plant, farther than we anticipated. Our own Shepard Smith is live in Tokyo, as he has been all week. Shepard, now we are being told that radiation has been discovered, higher levels of radiation 19 miles away from the plant. Meantime, the Japanese people have only been told to evacuate if they live within 12 miles of the plant. Our U.S. government playing it a little bit more cautious, but what's the word there?
Well, that is the word. I think there's a great deal of confusion because the United States experts have been saying for the last 36 hours or so that the containment area should be outside what is now a zone where they found elevated radiation levels. I'm not sure exactly how much of this information they're getting inside that zone, as there are power shortages and there's a lack of communication in many areas. But we do know that Americans have been told to get even farther away from that, and these extremely high radiation levels, some 18.4 miles away from the site, are concerning to all. You mentioned these water cannons that they're using there. It's our information that a United States naval vessel offloaded these high-powered water cannons to give to the Japanese authorities in an effort to allow them to get water on these sites. What's unclear to us is whether they're able to get enough water actually on the rods themselves. You know, there's a hole in the roof there in number 4 and in number 3 that allows them, especially in number 4, the one where the spent fuel rods have been for all this time, and it was not online at the time of the earthquake. They could see the pool from up above, from the chopper, they tell us, and they were dropping water, but there was no indication as to whether that water actually made its way all the way down into the thing, or whether it was being dispersed along the way. So a lot of questions still here, Megan, and the biggest ones for us are about this power line. They keep telling us that they've been able to, that they're very close to getting this power line up and running so that they can put the water in there automatically with automation rather than using people. But we've seen no visual information that suggests to us that this line is there. And this time yesterday, it's 3 a.m. on Friday here, this time yesterday they started telling us about this power line that they were trying to install and that they were, quote, going to have it there ready very soon. Well, I don't really know what their definition of soon is, because it's been at least 24 hours and there's no power line.
Shepard, there are conflicting reports here about what Americans have been told to do in Japan. We know that the State Department has made flights available, and actually the first one just took off, and actually we heard landed as well, evacuating the family members of those who work for the State Department and other U.S. government agencies in Japan. But then there was an AP report earlier that said the State Department is warning all U.S. citizens to consider leaving the country, and saying chartered planes would also be brought in to help private American citizens wanting to leave. What have you heard about that, about the potential urging of regular American citizens who are in Japan to get out?
One of the suggestions that we're hearing, Megan, is this. The Japanese are very careful not to try to incite panic. I'm not quite sure how you panic the Japanese people, because their level of calmness still continues to astound us. But to order all Americans out of the country might send a message that would be counterproductive for the Japanese government's intentions here. To say all Americans should now leave, if the State Department were to send out such a warning, I think there might be a concern that Japanese citizens would believe that they're in some sort of danger and that they should do the same thing. And the Japanese government does not want to send this advisory out that everybody in the country should leave. The advisory is American citizens, if you're there and you want to leave, we'll make things available, especially to State Department workers. If you want to leave, you may. What's being said on the side to them is another matter, but I think anybody who's up there in the zone to the north of us is strongly considering getting out of the country.
Can I ask you, Shepard, quickly, you know, how do you feel? Because we've heard reports of NBC News crews finding radiation on their equipment, on their shoes in Tokyo. That's where you are. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I feel good about things, Megan. What we do is watch the wind very carefully. We know the winds are out of the west-southwest. That means if there were to be a worst-case scenario, which we're not anticipating, the experts tell us don't anticipate a worst-case scenario. It's not going to happen. But if it did happen, the winds are coming from the west-southwest. That said, some of our people are leaving here. We're getting out of here to what amounts to tomorrow, your time. and going to head back to the United States and continue to cover with some of our other correspondents. That, look, people are concerned. You know, you start talking about radiation levels going up and long-term damage and all that sort of thing. People have concerns about themselves, especially if you have family members at home.
Sure.
You know, you got a wife and kids at home and mouths to feed and all the rest. So a lot of people are concerned. I mean, I think I could stay here forever, but we're getting home.
We don't want that. We want you back here, but you've been doing great work over there, my friend. Thank you, Shepard Smith. All the best.